Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Trade Love Academy's weekly MES breakdown. Hey guys, it's me, Fatima, and I'm going to guide you to mastering S&P 500, or the mini S&P. So that's MES or ES. So if you guys are transitioning from SPF 500 futures or just looking to sharpening your futures game, you guys are definitely in the right place. So each week we're going to break down the market structure, trade setups, risk management, and pro tips to help you trade with confidence and consistency. So whether if you're a beginner or an experienced trader, my goal is to help you guys navigate the futures market with clarity and precision. All right, you guys. So who's ready to level up your ES trading? Let's go ahead and dive in today. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss an update. Let's go ahead and trade smarter, not harder. All right, guys, you guys know the drill. Let me go ahead and get all set up here. Share my screens. Let's see. Here we go. All right, how's it looking? If you guys can see my screens, if I'm coming in clear, guys drop some threes in the chat. Let's see, make sure I'm coming to you guys loud and clear. Perfect. All righty, well, today is Wednesday, the 16th. You guys know we're going to be looking at ES, but let's go ahead and take a look at some fundamental analysis. I know we have news coming up. So today at 8:30, this is all Eastern time, we're looking at Forex Factory because I'm getting guys to transition over to seeing how this is equivalent to, the futures market. So we have core retail sales and let's see some CAD news here. Fed Palace speaking at 1:30. Pretty big news day, of course. Every day is filled with major headlining events. So you guys keep your ears to the streets, Wall Street, that is. Make sure whenever you're trading, you definitely are prepared for any tweets to come out. We have, so many major things. We have tariffs going on. We have, oh my God, so much stuff. Global news as well. Earnings reports coming out. All right. Perfect. So now that we know exactly what's happening today and we can set up our trade day, make sure what times, you guys know I always suggest you taking like a vertical bar in your charts. So coming over here, getting a vertical line, and whatever time there is, this is 4 hours. So whatever time the news is coming out, just put a vertical line on your charts just to remind you, sometimes we get so sucked into trading that we forget to, get out the market or secure our trades whenever that time is. So, just have your vertical lines on your charts just to remind you of that news or an alarm or something like that, just to make sure that we are protecting our trades when necessary. Okay. Alrighty, so before we jump into analyzing ES, I want to give the market some of that news to just go ahead and make the market all crazy. Let's go ahead and check out our fundamental analysis. I do have a major announcement. I'll announce it in a couple minutes. I want everyone to kind of tinkle in here. I'm excited. Well, we'll get into that. Let's go ahead and take a look at what Bloomberg's telling us that we need to be cautious of in the markets today, or be mindful of, I should say. Alrighty, any questions or anything that you guys want to go over before we hop into our analysis here, reading our news? Let me zoom in here. Alrighty, so here we go. Alrighty, so technology stocks fell as new U.S. restrictions on the export of NVIDIA chips to China and a disappointing report from chip equipment maker ASML fanned trade war concerns. The slump wiped out 155 billion in market value for the companies alone. All right, so you guys know what that means. So the new U.S. Export rules on NVIDIA chips to China is basically like escalating trade tensions and hitting tech companies hard. So that was that huge hit there. And now since tech, especially NVIDIA, is like a major sector in the S&P 500, a sharp sell-off can drag it lower. So we definitely need to watch out for bearish pressure in tech-heavy sessions. And, we can use like levels from previous earnings or support levels to guide us through our trades. Okay, any questions? Okay, so China wants to see steps from the Trump administration before it agrees to trade talks, including showing more respect by reining in disparaging remarks by officials, according to a person familiar with the Chinese government's thinking. So definitely, you guys know that they're just demanding respect. I don't know if y'all have been on TikTok, if you guys have been looking at all that stuff, it's been insane. But, this signals kind of continued like uncertainty in the US China relations. So there's no progress in the negotiations so far that I've heard. And that's just like leading to more volatility and, global investor caution. So while it's not an economic event directly, it does add micro risk, which traders need to definitely price into their bias. So if you're trading any, I know some of us are still trading Forex, no biggie. If you are, just keep that in mind. Okay, so US futures paired to drop after that China scoop through, though they're still pointing to a lower open due to the tech sell-off. So the dollar fell to a fresh 6-month low, and investors are still looking for havens. Also, gold hit a record, and the Swiss franc rallied. So, of course, U.S. stock futures are still down. That's showing like the tech sell-off has weight, despite the positive news on China talks. So, even though it was positive news, still really no update on those negotiations. That did cause the dollar to fall. Gold rose. That's just definitely just kind of suggests like risk off environment with investors seeking safety in gold and like the Swiss franc. But now, like for us ES traders, that means we need to be watching for heavy resistance and like potential chop or weakness near the open. So gold strength is often a sign of market caution. So you know how we always have like analyzing other pairs to show the correlation. Gold, we like to see gold when gold is buying. We want to see our stocks selling and vice versa, just because they like to balance off, although they can move in the similar direction. We see better like trend and momentum when those pairs are and those assets are moving against each other, because they are supposed to, played against each other. Alrighty, so the U.S. launched a probe into the need for tariffs on critical minerals, adding to the trade war that has targeted key sectors of the global economy. So they've definitely expanded the trade war narrative into the energy and industrial sectors there. So that could in fact like, I don't know, like inflation, supply chains, a bunch of different things. So now for for our ES futures traders, definitely again, just kind of like supports like that sell that sell mentality. So we definitely want to be cautious with long positions until, our news kind of stabilizes a little bit. Alrighty, and then U.S. Bank Corp. Let's see. Commerce Bank shares and Citizens Financial Report earnings, along with insurers, Travels and Progressive, and drug maker Abbott Labs. Heineken rallied in Amsterdam after the brewer reported a smaller than expected drop in revenues. All right, so it's earnings season, guys. So some earnings reports from those guys. If it beats expectations, like if those earnings beat expectations, it could offer some relief. Maybe we could get a bounce in ES. So we definitely want to watch those sectors individually. Strong healthcare or financials can offer some support to the index. So, all right. How does that sound? Are you guys starting to understand a little bit more how this economic data, these releases and these news and these reports and all this stuff is coming when they're coming out, how they're affecting the market, what all of this kind of means, why it's important to ES? How are we doing with that? Everyone's like, oh my gosh, I don't understand what this means. Well, we're going to get there. We're going to definitely get there. Okay. So let's take a look. Alrighty, so we'll sum this all up. Basically, you guys know there's tech weakness is the main driver, but news flows around China can definitely create sharp intraday reversals. So we definitely want to stay alert. With gold hitting a record and the dollar weak, we want to look for confirmation before taking risk on trades. So major day, and we're going to use our earning reports for potential bounces or breakouts or breakdowns, especially in financial and healthcare sectors. So we definitely want to expect a lot of volatility near the New York Open, and just be mindful of news headlines that could rapidly shift like our sentiment in the market. All right. Let's woosah it down. Okay, so let's get into ES. I want to kind of go over what our analysis was from last week. Let me see here if I can pull it up. Let me stop sharing. And let me see if I can pull up our analysis that we did last Wednesday. Talk about that for a little bit and how we were to take our analysis and get back in the market, what happened, and all that good stuff. Oh, so let me pull this up here. All right. Let me just share this screen. Here we go. All right, if you guys can see my screen, let me know. Want to make sure I'm coming in nice and clear. Okay. Oh, announcement. You guys join me today at 2 p.m. Eastern time. I am going to be on Top Step TV talking about, my trading analysis. They asked me to join, speak about the VIP program as well. So you guys definitely tune into Top Step TV today, Wednesday, April 16th. Your girl's going to be on at 2 p.m. So definitely expect a little jump in our group, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So welcome, everyone. And definitely come on, show me some love. Represent our group here. I'm going to be shouting everybody out. So that's going to be exciting. Again, 2 p.m. Okay, so last week, this was our analysis here. We had the market last week, Wednesday. What day was that? Let me pull up. Last week, Wednesday. Oh, of course, it was my kid's birthday, April the 9th. But I think we came on Thursday, the 10th. Well, obviously, the date is right there. Alrighty. So this was April the 10th, excuse me. So we were looking at the market. We were entering the market right here. We were analyzing here this, let me see if I can zoom in. This consolidation box, kind of waiting for price to break out of this consolidating range. Now, if it broke this high here, we were looking for price to come back up to this breakout area, this 54.68 kind of level. And then possibly if, we're just looking at market structure. We're still learning how to incorporate the DOM in our trading. So right now we were just using our pivot levels to help us identify the most recent resistance and those zones like that. So if it broke this high, we were going to look to take profit or the market to, come up to this area. The market kind of wicked. It didn't make significant highs. This is on the 15-minute time frame. So remember, when we say a break, we definitely want to see a candle break above and close. We didn't get that little wiki here, but immediately we saw that we had this support area marked off by a gray box. Price shot down, broke below this gray box here, our support zone, broke below our 800 EMA. We had this 10-20 cross here for our short-term trend reversal there, short-term move. So we were looking for sells. We had that break. We placed a fib from our low to our high, brought it out. So we used this low. We took this high, and we were looking for price to come back down here to the 50.61.8 level. We were looking for price to come back to, this zone here. Price hit that zone. It actually shot all the way kind of down here to the 50.80 zone level. So you know how we market structure and our imbalance candles here. So along whatever confirmations you use in the market, what goes along with your strategy, whether if you're looking to fill this imbalance candle, whether if you were using your pivot levels to help you determine your levels, if you were using your fib and our 50.61.8 golden zone here, the market came right back to those levels. It dropped out of the sky. So we got an amazing sell on Thursday. And then Nimsa said the same exact thing. He said, and he caught that bounce back up. So remember, we were looking for these sells. Price just kept making lower lows. We had our destination kind of mapped out here. And then we know that once price reaches around this area, there's usually some type of reversal, pull back to the upside for that buy. Definitely. And the market did that. So this was our analysis that we dropped last week. Made some good monies there, made some good points with that. So that was awesome. Alrighty, let's go ahead and analyze. Yeah, it was really, thank you, Pivot Queen. I appreciate it. I hope you get a chance to drop in. It is really exciting. I definitely did not expect it. So the invite was amazing there. So, alrighty, so let's zoom out. Let's do a quick top-down analysis so that we can kind of map out our trades here. We'll wait for that news to kind of come and go. So again, market hit the end of our intraday TP, bounce back up. So let's start at the 4-hour. So you guys, let's just do a quick recap. We're using our pivot levels to help us identify major price levels. we're using our RSI to help us identify price momentum. So when we're oversold, we're expecting the price to, our RSI to cross back up into this area. Know that the market likes to stay in this middle range. So so when the market is crossing up, oversold, coming up, buying up, we're expecting that's buying momentum. And once it comes over past this 80% area, we're expecting the market to do exactly this, cross back down and give us some selling momentum. We're using our moving averages. So 800, 200, 50, 10, and 20 to help us do a number of things, such as identify the overall trend. We use our short-term EMAs, our 10, 20. When those cross, those help us to also identify, our short-term trend. We're using our moving averages as support and resistance as well. And what else? Yep, that's kind of all the elements that we typically have in our trading with our strategy and using price and our momentum here in the markets. All right, so 4-hour time frame. We had our 4-hour support that we marked up last week. We had our intraday TP, which was our 50-61.8 zone last week for this sell. Then what happened? We had this high here, marked up this high, kind of this using, whatever you want to use. If you're using your candlestick open and closes, if you're using that wick, we just want something to help us identify when the market comes back to this area that there was resistance here in the past. So, price could, of course, break through, but of course, we could get a little pushback. We just want to be informed into what's going on in the market. So we had that high here. I marked out an intraday TP, which is just this level between our R7 and our R8. If the market continues to buy, we had this short term. We're on the 4 hours. So price came down here to our S0 kind of level. We had support. We've had price making, bouncing from this level, making higher highs after, we had this W kind of formation here. Price broke above. We've made higher highs, higher lows. We haven't made a higher high yet. We're kind of just bouncing around, but we haven't made lower lows. So we have this cross here, short-term cross on the 4 hour. We're just, taking a step back, looking at the market from a higher time frame. Sometimes we can be so zoomed in that we forget to look at, what's going on with our major structure here. There's so much volatility, so much little movement that we want to make sure that we are always checking to see the greater move. Okay, so we're just making higher highs, higher lows. We are looking for the market to continue up to buy here, and this is our profit target area. So this 5,600, 5,550, kind of this range here. This is also where our 200 moving average is located. We know this is also where our R7, which is a level that, yes, shows like a lot of resistance in that zone. There was also a gap here, previous area of support. So whatever you're using to help you identify where the market is going, we definitely use our indicators to help give us a confirmation, but these are lagging indicators. They're taking, historical price data. We want to make sure that we can identify what these indicators are telling us. Also, we're just not going to take it just, R7, that's where resistance is going to be. We want to take a look at the market to make sure, what it did in the past, what patterns there may be in the market. So definitely do that. Alrighty, so 4 hour, what's our 4 hour telling us? You guys, all right, so 4 hour, what is the overall momentum? I mean, what is the overall trend? We just went over it. Buying or selling? Yep, buying. And even if we took our fib from our low to our high, so this high point here, and I just want to move it over, move it across, so we can give us an idea of if the market is pulling back, kind of what area the market may, have the potential to pull back to and what that tells us. So we took this low, we take this high because we're in a buy. And let's see, let's mark out our 50, 61.8 level. We know that that's typically where the market pulls back to. So it's our fib box, that's our TP zone as well. Now, if the market breaks below this fib zone, there's support here, right? We see these candles. We see that the sellers were able to push price down to 51.48, but, they tried again in this 4 hour candle, a couple of different 4 hour candles, and they were unable to push price lower. So major area of support here. So if we have a candle close below this area, below these candlesticks here, we have a candlestick close below this area. That means that price is now making lower lows. It's breaking this previous area of support and no longer making higher highs. So that's why we have these areas. We need to mark out these areas because they give us an idea of, if our trend is changing and making sure that we are on the right side of the market. So if the market breaks below this area today, we know that what we're looking for. We're looking for that the market is making lower lows, no longer, going into this buy and coming up here to this TP area. It is instead making lower lows. We're selling. We might see a 10-20 short-term EMA cross, giving us like that short-term selling trend, alert there. And we may see price come down here to this 50, 61.8 level. So remember, we're just marking out when we're doing our top-down analysis, we're marking out key levels in the market that our asset may have the potential to react, meaning, they may sell to that area, buy to that area, or when the market gets to that area, there may be huge reversal because there may be either support or resistance there. We want to make sure that we are on the right side of the market. We're looking at the overall trend. We're looking at the candlestick on our candlesticks here on our pivot. On our coffee, guys, coffee. Hold on. I'm going to get it together. All right. Yes, that. All right, we are looking at our 4-hour candle open and closings here, just so that we see exactly what's being added. Oh, hold on, you guys. Let's see. We're having some people having trouble on Telegram getting on the live. Let me just let everyone know. Oh, thanks, Sherry. Oh, I love her. She's absolutely so sweet. I don't know. I keep dropping the link. I keep telling people where we're going and the times. I know there were some changes there, but I just thought, no, see, this is what's throwing everyone. Oh, our YouTube link is incorrect. Alrighty, sorry guys. I was like, where is everyone? It keeps coming. Okay. Let's see if that works. I don't know why the link I posted, I'm so sorry, was bringing everyone to a Zoom. But that's why you guys know, like our YouTube channel, so you come straight to the channel. You guys, I was waiting for y'all. I was like, where were you guys? Okay, I'm so sorry about that. Like I was saying, I'm not sure why that link just went over to a Zoom link. That's so weird. So, but you guys are here. All right, let's try this thing again. Okay, so what were we doing? We were looking at ES. We were speaking about what happened. Oh, goodness. I'm so sorry, Charlotte. I don't know what it says. If you guys look at it, it says like the link actually says YouTube and it has the live share. But when I clicked it too, it kept saying it took everyone to like a Zoom. So that's strange. That's annoying. I thought you guys just didn't love me anymore. All right. Well, let me edit this then. Perfect. All right. Well, you guys didn't miss anything. We were just speaking about how our trade from last week, how we analyzed that, what we were looking for. And we were waiting for this data to come out, those reports, and we were just setting up our trades. So you guys are right on time. The announcement was that I would love everyone to join me today at 2 p.m. I've been invited to Top Step TV. So you guys will see me up there today at 2, just sharing my trading style, talking about the VIP experience. So you guys come represent me. I'll be shouting everybody out. Y'all know I get nervous at all these type of events. So I got that invitation. And the day has come. So that's really exciting. That's really exciting. I never would have thought I would have gotten invited up there. So that's pretty cool. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And of course, all my students, all the people that have been here with me, just helping me to become, a better trader, better teacher, us all learning together. Couldn't have done it without you guys as well. So please come and celebrate me so I can celebrate you, so we can all, continue to get this trading together, make our monies and be profitable. So spread the word, 2 p.m. Tell all your friends to come and support your girl. Alrighty, so where were we? Okay, so ES. Alrighty, so we have our take profit area. If we were looking, that market is definitely, thank you guys. I got a couple screens here, so I'm looking back at the chat, and I do want to say thank you. Only you guys would understand how major that is. I'm like telling everybody, like, oh my God, guess what's happening? They're like, oh, cool. No, I'm nervous. I'm like sweating. Alrighty. So 4 hour, we kind of marked up our zones, our intraday. If the market goes back into this buy, if we make higher highs, it breaks this structure. This is the area that we're looking in. Right now, though, we took our fib. We're doing a fib within a fib because we had a couple fibs. Well, we had a fib, here. That's how we got this intraday. And so now we're taking a fib from this low to this high point here, just seeing how far the market it might pull back to. And with that being said, This is the 4 hour. So we're looking at the bigger move. Of course, we had structure here. So if price breaks below this area, we have a candle, not just a break, a close, candle close and open below. So we don't just want to see wicks and price breaking below there. We want to see a candle open and close below that support area to give us that confirmation. That's on any time frame. A wick is not enough. We want to see those candle close below or above those areas to give confirmation of that shift in trend or break in structure, I should say. And so, of course, if price comes down here, we're selling down to this area because it looks like, we're having some selling momentum. Even though we are oversold, we're not crossing back up. We have a little bit of color here, but we want to make sure that our price, this blue kind of, is crossing above this area and pushing up. And just because we are oversold, of course, or overbought, that doesn't mean that we can't continue selling or can't continue buying. It's just letting us know that we're getting to an area where the market may identify some sort of support or resistance. All right, so 2 p.m. Eastern. Yes. 2 p.m. Eastern, Nada. Yes. Top Step TV. I'm going to drop the link in our Telegram group. Let's hope it doesn't take everyone to a Zoom link because that would drive me nuts. Did P get in? Okay, Portia's in. Awesome. Okay. Alrighty, so 4 hour, we understand what's going on the 4 hour. Does everyone understand on the higher time frames? So remember, 4 hour, even though we meet on Wednesday, these classes are intended to set you up and give you a path for the remainder of the week. So this might not, price might not come to this area today. It might not come to this area tomorrow, but at least we have these zones marked up. We've been having a lot of sideways movement, even though, these candles, ES is not what ES used to be when we first started. It's not the same ES from 2024. These candles, we're having 3-minute candles that are giving us 50 points, sometimes 100 points, so ES has been moving. It's been very volatile, but it's been giving us some good, I want to keep saying pips, but it's been giving us some good movement there. We're getting a lot of points. Alrighty, so is everyone clear on the higher time frame, what we are looking for? Can we move down to the 1 hour? Throw some yeses in the chat. Now that everyone's with me, I was like crying in my brain earlier because I didn't know where anybody was. I was like, oh, snap, I missed one class last week, and they're just like, I don't even like her anymore. All righty, let's go over to the 1 hour. So we know what the 4 hours doing. We have our destination set up. Let me just have this visible on the 4 hour. All righty, so let's see. Let's zoom into the 1 hour. So our fib zone here that we marked up from this low to this high, this fib zone is also our S0. So 53.12.5, that is our S0. We will be looking for support in these areas anyway. So once the market comes down to this zone, we're looking to take profit and potentially wait for the market to set up for a reversal for a buy. If it breaks below this area, we already spoke about, remember, candle break and close below this area. We already spoke about that. That means that the market is now making lower lows, and we should see like a pivot shift. If that happens, you might, if you don't see it shifting on, the 1 hour or those higher time frames, go to the 15-minute to see if some new levels have occurred. Let's see. You guys with me? Norma, I'll be on Top Step TV today at 2 p.m. Eastern. I've been invited on the show. So you guys come support me. We'll talk about the markets. We'll talk about our trading plan. We'll talk about our group and how we're amazing over here and everything we've been doing. We'll talk about the VIP challenge and all that great stuff. I'll drop the link in the chat as well, the right link, as I was saying. Okay, so let's look at the 30-minute. You guys know I like to look at the 30-minute specifically just for my RSI kind of tells me the overall momentum. So sometimes the hour candle or what's going on in the hourly time frame, it might be too broad. The 15-minute might be too zoomed in as far as what's the overall momentum going on. But that 30-minute, it definitely helps with that. And as we can see, we're seeing the S0 and the S1 here, which is our support levels. So these are take profit areas. Take profit area 1. What is this? 53.33. And our take profit area 2, which is what? 53.12. Left. Right. And of course, if it breaks structure, then we know that we have our ultimate take profit for this sell. Now, if you get a pivot level shift, we always ask Ty. Oh, I miss hearing Ty's beautiful questions. She always asks, how do we know if it's going to keep going? What if, price doesn't come, price comes to these areas and wants to keep selling? That's why we use these areas. You can use it as your take profit. If you're watching the market though, and you seeing continuous, like we're having pressure, we're seeing strong selling candles, we're seeing breaks on the lower time frames and structure where price is making lower lows. If we're seeing pivotal shifts, meaning this was the S0 and now the S0, we have a break here, price breaks. And, if the S0, we have a pivot shift is now down here, then that means that there's some more selling coming in. There's some more selling pressure. You can adjust your take profits now to the next level, but also remember what happens down here too. So there's a couple things that could happen. We can have this break and it could bounce up. We can have things like, you guys got to know the patterns. How does the market react when it comes down to these major pivotal zones? Is R7, R8, S1, S0, those levels. Sometimes we have the market bounce here, come back out, just to come back down here, grab these orders, then to bounce out. So you guys really just pay attention to larger time frames, see what the market is telling you with those those candlesticks, look at what structure is telling you, but you know exactly what you're going to do in these areas. Top-down analysis. Finally, we got one. We've been kind of jumping in the charts. So now our 15-minute, this is our time frame that we like to take our orders from, our trade positions from, get into the market. Remember, we like to make an alert at the R7, make an alert at the S1 or the R8, or the S1 or the S0, excuse me. So ideally, if we had went to sleep, last night, put our alerts here, kind of want to replay. Let's see what happened. Okay, so this is 11. Oh, where was I? Oh, oops. All right, this was yesterday. Let me speed this baby on up. I think I brought it back too late. Let's just see. I want to go right here. Anyways, I was trying to do a replay to see where the pivot levels were at 9 a.m. on Monday. This was probably, our R8 or a little bit above that if there was not a shift already, but we definitely would have, we set our alerts at these levels. You set an alert, the market tells you that it's at a major zone. Once the market got here, once the market got to this level, it bought up to that level. Came over here to our R8, around this area. That would have been, we're oversold, we're overbought. Nice little sell here. Kind of bounced up again. Price didn't make a higher high. Still our selling area. Our RSI is telling us the same exact thing. We're selling. Price came all the way down to this S0. So that would have been a move yesterday from 9:15 on the 15-minute. And then it reached our ultimate TP area at 12 p.m. So that's how you would have used those pivot levels. Now, when it came down here, that was 105 points. So remember, every dollar point, do you guys remember every dollar that ES moves? Well, it moves in 25-cent increments. So if you were trading the ES, not the micro, just the regular mini contract, every 25-cent move, that's what they're calling, that's their price fluctuations in the ES, that would be $12.50. So an entire dollar movement of the ES, if you're trading just the mini ES, is $50. So imagine if you were in a one mini contract at 9 a.m., held that baby, just using, your pivotals, your support and resistance levels. That would have been some sweet cash, even with a micro. So micros, now one micro, one 25-cent move, it's $5. Or is it? Oh gosh, I've been talking for too long. But you guys know. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is whether if you were in with one mini, one micro, whatever the move is, this was a pretty straightforward trade if you would have caught it at these levels. And then what did it do? It came down here to this S0, boom, shot back up, came back up here to this R8. So it's really just been respecting these levels. We're having a little bit of consolidation here. We're ranging, but you guys know what we do. And, before those ranges, this is the 15-minute time frame. If ES was ranging back in the day, probably couldn't, make too much. We would have switched to a different asset or something like that. But these movements are huge. 100 points there. And what? An hour and 45 minutes from, this point here. If we took it, and that's again that was at 10:45. If you just held it when it first reached that level at 9:15, 9:30, that would have been amazing. The move back up here. Oh, what am I doing? The move back up here, another 70 points. So we're just bouncing around from this R8 to this S0. But as we can see, this was the low point. Now, this was the low point at 4:15. Now, this is the latest low point. So even though price is not making significant higher highs right now, it's still not making lower lows. In fact, it's making slightly higher lows. So we're going to see what the market is going to do in this situation. I want you guys to go on your charts right now and mark out your areas. We've been doing this every single day. Every single week. So it is now 8:56. We have the New York Open happening in a couple minutes here. Let's go ahead and box out our areas. So you can take, I usually just take the last couple of candlesticks on the 15-minute time frame when they're trading sideways like this. We had a break here. So we had this candle open and close here. So I want to include these candles here. I want to include these candles in this area. And so basically, we're going to do the same thing we do all the time. Because if you guys haven't noticed, during this time frame, ES, we've been having a lot of ranging movement, consolidation, sideways movement, whatever you want to call it during this time. So it's been to our benefit to kind of box up our candlesticks, box up an area here that we're waiting for a decision to be made. So we are waiting for a price to either break out of this and go into a buy, come back over here to our 60, to our R7, R8 kind of levels. So that's our TP for the buy. If we break out of this level, and we have our TP for our sell here. So we have both areas just right here, small little zones on the 15-minute time frame that we're just looking for price to give us a confirmation, 20 points, 22 points to the upside. If we get a breakout of here, we got about 22, in either direction. But once price breaks out of that direction, that should help us get some clarity into what the bigger move is. When you're finished boxing up your 15-minute candles, your decision area, drop some 8s in the chat so I know that we're ready to move on to the lower time frame. And I'll be reading some of these comments. Portia, you said you're saying yes and no. What would you like me to go over? You can review older videos, but at the same time, we're just practicing live market structure. So let's go over while everybody's still boxing up our their areas. So we're using our pivotal zones, and we're just using our pivotal zones here. Forget who it's from, to help us identify support and resistance levels and take profit areas. So if we had resistance here, we're taking the market down to this next point and taking it back up once it, gets up here, maybe not all the way up to the R8, maybe to the P4, but we'll talk about that. We're using this as our support, our pivot levels as our support and resistance level, our guidance, kind of our GPS in the market. Oh, okay. I'll just still go over this. Pivot levels, helping us to identify momentum. Our moving averages help us to identify trend and support and resistance as well. Okay, you said it was on the 4-hour and you asked if we knew what we were looking for. And so I was just asking on the 4-hour, what was the overall trend, buy or sell? So that's when we were here. market, we were looking for overall buys. The market, it's in a weird place here because we are making higher lows, but we haven't made higher highs. So we're bouncing around right here. So we're looking to see if the market's going to pull back to this fib zone before continuing to buy here. We did have this cross on the short-term trend. All right, Kelly's done boxing her 15-minute candles up. Cool. Hey, Maureen. You're welcome. Okay. So now that we have our setup for 15-minute, so we have the overall trend and where the market has the potential to go on the higher time frame, on the 4-hour time frame. The 1-hour time frame, we were able to, kind of set up a fib to see, where we had the potential to pull back. Our 30-minute was giving us selling momentum on the overbought, selling momentum on the RSI. So our 15-minute, we have a cross on the 15-minute, a short-term EMA cross on the 15-minute here, showing us our 10, our 20 is crossing our 10, our 10 is crossing our 20 EMAs. That's our short-term signal here. Prices below all of these. It's really just kind of found support here on this 200 EMA. So that's what's going on. We go to the lower time frames to help us identify or see if we have a clue, if there's like a pivotal shift to help us just, again, we're just identifying our trend, just making sure the market is doing on the lower time frames exactly what we're seeing on the higher time frames. So yep, we're seeing price doing what? We have our highs, lows. Oh, that's not my path to them. Making lower lows. And now if we break, we already have our take profit area that we set up on the higher time frame. We also see that this is where our 800 EMA is. We know that's a level of resistance. So our 5-minute is kind of really in line with as far as trend. As far as it being right now, our RSI though is telling us that it's still going lower. Remember, I was saying just because it's oversold doesn't mean that it can't continue to sell. So when we see something like this on the lower, when we see our RSI on, a time frame kind of looking like this, we're not going to use the information from our RSI. We can't use the information from our RSI on the 5-minute because it's not really moving according to our strategy. And we can see why. It's consolidating. It's just moving sideways. It's jumbled up in between these moving averages here. So we're getting kind of a little bit of spike, but look at these candles. It's buy, sell, buy, sell. When we're using our RSI and when our RSI is working to our benefit, we have to know when to use our indicators. When to take information from them, because not all the time is the market going to be set up where the information on our indicators is helping us to identify, patterns and confirmations in the market. So when our RSI and we have a good trending market, we're oversold and the market shoots straight up here and it comes to this overbought area like this. It's a great area, but it's overbought. Remember when I said just because it's overbought doesn't mean that it's going to continue to sell. It continued to buy, went back up to that area. It sells here. Just because our RSI is telling us buy and sell, that doesn't mean that it's going to buy up to the meaning that it's going to buy all the way up to the R8 or sell all the way down to the S0. But we want to kind of see nice smooth movements, kind of our RSI kind of giving us that kind of movement. When we have all this choppy movement, we don't want to really look to the RSI then on that particular time frame until it looks a lot clearer. Does everyone understand what I mean about waiting till our RSI gives us more confirmation and is a lot clearer in its structure. I know we're so used, you guys, I do miss y'all coming off of mute and being able to speak. So I think, we'll have to incorporate some Zoom sessions into our trainings, even if it's just, once or twice a month, so that you guys can come off of mute and continue to talk, share your charts, get questions, stuff like that. Alrighty, so let's look to the 1 minute, see if it's giving us indication of what's going on. And it's really not. And it's really not. So I guess we're just gonna have to wait for the momentum. We had that data that came out earlier. So once the market makes that kind of move, it's kind of taking a little breather until the next major move is just most likely going to be the New York Open. All right, so once it breaks out of this level, we want to see price break below this low, or is it still making lower lows? Well, we're on the 1 minute time frame. We can move to we can look to the 1 minute time frame now that we've done a full top-down analysis. We don't have tunnel vision. We kind of have all levels kind of set up. Now it's safe for us to kind of go to the 1 minute so that we can set up, a trade on the smaller time frame. All right, so we're going to do this exact same thing. Highs and lows, where we're looking for price to break to take to the next level. So we can even do this on a smaller time frame, even though like we created this box. This was our box that we were waiting for price to break out of. If we notice that it's still ranging in this box, and right now, although we are going to get into our Top Step demo accounts because it is the New York Open. I do like it to be hands off, but we are practicing. Sometimes if you do catch good momentum, you can catch some trades during the New York Open, but we just have to see how the volatility is. So again, in your demos, you guys just practice. However, if you do, I always take my first trade in my demo account anyways. That's a part of my trading plan. My first trade of the day is always in my demo. That gives me a chance to just in live time, just make sure that I have the right leverage on, making sure I'm not over leveraging, under leveraging, do I need to be in 3 contracts instead of 1 or 5, making sure the market is on my side, just testing out the waters there. So we'll see. The market came to this S0. We'll see, if it breaks this high, if it's coming back up here to this R8, R7 kind of level here, touching this 200 EMA, if it's going to shoot back down. So we're going to do this in live time. I'm going to stay with you guys till 9:45 so we can take a look at how we would play or trade our analysis in live time. What's the market telling us? How do we get in? How do we get out? Just practicing in our demos till 9:45, where the market kind of comes out with that nice 15-minute candle, and we can see structure a little bit clearer, and then we can hop in a trade in your live or your challenge accounts if you prefer. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get our trades set up. Now, typically, remember I said that I like to have out I like to see have the Dow up, because sometimes it's the leader and it can give you a hint into, where is ES selling? Is it buying? And remember how I said that, if We get good momentum when we have gold and our indices moving opposite to each other. So gold is buying. That's great. We love to see it. And then we have, the US 30. That's selling. It's probably going to sell down to this area here. You see it's making those major moves. That's our TP3, like the ultimate TP. We can do the same thing with the Dow, US 30. It's 15-minute time frame. If we would have gotten in the market, this would have been an amazing trade to get in for that buy. Came back up here to this R8 level. Nice selling area. Let's take our fib from this low to this high. Let me bring it on over. Mark out our first kind of TP. Came back down here to this 50, 61.8 level. So this was, this was the first TP kind of range here. If it continues to sell and break down below, then we have our TP2. Okay, so that TP1 was at 50, 60, which was 44.52. TP2, 43.89. If we see that price is continuing to sell on the lower time frame, so see we're oversold. So we know that our 50, 61.8 kind of level there can be a buying area. We want price to retrace to that level to continue in that trend. But it's the New York Open. We have a lot of orders. The market's going to be filling those orders. So we have these imbalance candles. We typically see when we have these imbalance candles, the market's going to come, fulfill that imbalance, shoot back up. So let's just see if the patterns that we typically see in US 30, the Dow, if that's going to happen. Again, now right now, where are we at? We're at our 50. We're expecting that little bounce. It's also here near our 800 EMA. That's a strong resistance or support EMA. Right now, it's looking like it wants to be support. So what may happen? I love to do a fib within a fib. Move this over. So we had this high, low, high, low. This is the latest kind of high here to this low. So if we're seeing a little pullback, we're afraid, you can just, if you want to get back into this trade, if you're not already in that sell, you might want to wait till price kind of comes back up here to the 4,500 area. That's our 50 EMA. That's our 50, 61.8 kind of zone. We also have our EMAs, strong EMAs here. Of course, if it breaks and, breaks below this wick here, and that means our fib is no longer valid. Price has made a lower low. We can look at the lower time frames to see if we can hop in that trade to continue down to our ultimate TP area. How are we feeling about that? Did everyone understand? Just a quick, analysis there, just looking at what happened in the past and what's happening right now, and how we can kind of map out that Dow trade. Same thing with that box. We're on the 15-minute time frame. Now I have a lot of colors here. If my colors are too much, or if you guys like me to clear my chart, just let me know. Charlotte's got it. Charlotte has got it. So same kind of thing here. Waiting for it to break out. It broke below. So, whenever we have a break, we might get a retest back into that area before continuation. Or what did we say? Price might not pull back. If it breaks below this area, you might as well set your pending order. Let's make sure the 1 minute isn't at a level of support and it's just bouncing around. Nope. What's our 1 minute telling us? Look what the 1 minute. Our RSI, we're getting some buying momentum. So it's showing that at this area, we might buy here and push back up like we said before. But of course, if we were down here at this S0 level, this support level, and our RSI was kind of looking something like this, oversold and crossing down, kind of like it's looking right now, that is giving us kind of an indication that price wants to shoot through this level. It wants to continue to sell. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Okay, we're at 15. We're at 9:15. US 30 traders. How does that sound? Is that kind of in line with your analysis and what the market has been doing and how you're taking your trades? It has to break and close below. That is right. But as you can see, it's kind of pushing down. It's making, it's made a lower low. That's our confirmation of that sell. Now you can go to the lower time frames to see, okay, look what happened. We had a pivot shift. Now this is our next price point. It broke below that level. We had a break and close. Of course, we're looking at the 1 minute just because we're looking at price and we want to see that break in live time, see those pivot shifts, and we're so close to the New York Open. We did a higher, of course, we zoomed out. That's always necessary. So we did that. It broke below. Now we get that break. We might have a retest. But we have the confirmation with the pivot level shifts and everything like that, that looks like we're going to continue a little bit lower here. We do see our 5-minute candles have broken below this 800 EMA. It tried to retest. And so now it's touching this 61.8, which was, if we caught it at the top here, just practicing our strategy. If we caught this sell up here at our R8 level where we had this nice selling candle, flat bottom there, we would have reached our TP1, we would have reached our TP2, and now we're looking to see if we're able to stay in this trade for the continuation of this sell down to these levels. All righty, let's go ahead. It's our 15-minute. Let's go ahead and take a look and putting our trades in on trading on a Top Step or wherever you're putting your trades at. We have paper trading here. If you wanted to paper trade, you can choose your broker, or you can just do the paper trading through TradingView. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to kind of have this over to the side so we can, keep an eye out what's going on. Selling. Who is in any of these trades according to your personal analysis? Is this? Here we go. Okay. Ooh, great. Love to see y'all building y'all's confidence. All right, so I'm in MES, which is the micro ES with this, current volatility. I have not been in any minis. We're selling down. Price is coming near. We'll keep this on, the 1 minute, because we want to see price in live time. We have 10 minutes. to the New York Open. Okay, so we have our levels here. We're seeing on the 1 minute, we might see a little bounce when price reaches this area too. When the market is moving like this, when we're close to, you know, a New York Open or a session open, may not be the New York Open, but just a session open, a session close, you will see those pivotal shifts on the lower time frames a lot. I'm going to go ahead and put in a pending stop here. I don't know if I want to get, I usually get in for 3. All righty, guys. How are you guys feeling about this trade? Are we getting in with 3 contracts? That's our normal, you know, size here within this volatility. Or are we getting in with 1 contract? How are you managing your trades? During the New York Open, let's just say this is your live account. Are you getting in your trades during the New York Open? Okay, we're activated. Definitely want to minimize my risk. So this looks like this is kind of the high area. This is kind of our area that we kind of broke out from. So I definitely don't want to risk 250 on this trade. If it comes back above this area, I really just want to kind of risk 150. I don't want to get wicked out. So we want to make sure that we are placing our trades in areas that make sense. Of course, we're going to get ticked in this environment or wicked into our trades sometimes in this environment. It is what it is. You just make sure that your stop loss is at a place that even if you get stopped out in this environment, you can still recover. So now we mark out our take profit. So we have a take profit at 53.56. We have a take profit at 53.51. And then, you know, we have all these other levels here. So if we see price continuing to sell, we're just, you know, that's what I love about, you know, being here in this platform is that you can just continue to drag. I like to always still mark up my levels here as well. So we had 56. 51, kind of where I'm at. All right, let me make sure. Let me just make this black. So we're just looking at breakout levels. These aren't profit levels. Let me continue to mark up. Where was I? Okay, 53.33. And then we still have all our levels here, 53.20 and 52.80. So if you're scalping throughout the day, if you're holding your trades, 52.80. We definitely need to check our price limits. We'll be talking about that more. Once, if price hits a certain point in any of these assets, that means that it's hit its kind of limit there and no trading is allowed. If you're with Top Step, it'll be closed out. The CME sets those price points. See if we can get back over there to check that out. See what those price points are today. So we keep an eye out on that. We also have Top Step levels, which, you know, I love. We all deal in levels. So, you know, I like to turn those on to see if any of those levels are near where I'm trading. And nope, the most recent level was yesterday's low, which is this purple line up here. And price is definitely below this low. So we're definitely making lower lows here. Alrighty, so prices, this is our 20 EMA. We're seeing how price has really respected this 20 EMA, using it as resistance. We see that price has hit it a couple times and continued to sell down. So if you weren't in a trade yet, if you weren't in this sell yet, this is the area, the ideal area. Well, really, we would like to see us being oversold and pushing down, but this is kind of, we're never going to be precise. If you want to be like, if you're a perfectionist, you know, you want to get an exact number, that's why we deal with zones, you know, areas. This would be the area to look for your confirmation for that sell. I like pending orders. I don't care, you know, that I get wicked in or wicked out. That's just my preferred method, especially in this type of market where, you know, you can place an order, the market can just drop. You definitely want to make sure you have those parameters in place. I rather, you know, be closed out and profit prematurely and the market keep dumping than for me to not have, you know, had any trade in any type of parameters in there and the opposite happened to me. So alrighty, how are we feeling? How are we feeling? We have 3 minutes to the New York Open. How's everybody feeling now? Let's look at our other pairs. We see the gold is near the R8, oversold. So we're expecting that to kind of sell down, sell off eventually. Remember, they can move together. It's just that when they are moving opposite to another, there's typically a nice little trend that I've seen in my trading. Of course, this market is different. Alrighty, so we're seeing price coming down. We're making lower prices coming to make this lower low. We are oversold, crossing down. We're below our EMAs. So it's a good confirmation that we are continuing to sell. Let's look at our order book here. Order filled. Thanks. A little delay there. That always scares me when there's like a little delay. I'm like, what? Fill what order? Alrighty, so you'll notice too, the DOM is a little thin in your practice accounts. You know, those are simulated environments. So although they try to mimic kind of what's going on in the live order book, it's not going to be like that to a T. Okay, so let's see our analysis play out in live time. We have everything that we need, and we're just going to sit back and watch. We have our stop loss. We have our take profit. We have other levels here that we can adjust to if needed. Alrighty. New York Open in 1 and 12 seconds. You guys drop what you guys are trading and what type of position you're in, buy or sell. Are you trading ES? Are you trading US 30? Are you trading gold? Are you still in Forex? Order filled. Wicked out. And what did it do? Came back here to this area, shot straight up. Looks like it's coming up here to this 200 EMA. So it's broke below this, it's broke above this high, this high, this high point as well. If we did a fib, that happens. And that's why I always say, you guys be careful for the New York Open, be in your demos, because those orders can come in either way. It could shoot up to that buy before it shoots back into that sell, or it could shoot into that sell. That's why having your order, seeing just like what's more heavier, buyers or sellers. So what did price do? Shot up here to this 50, 61, this 50 level, tried to touch this 200 EMA, and now it's selling back down to our selling point here. Let's see if we can get back in. Looks like it's still buying. I'm going to wait till it kind of touches these levels here. Put in a pending order. Wait for the next couple of candles. So if you got wicked out of that, we're learning how to manage our trades, get back into the market. So let's just say we're in our lives. We got wicked out of that trade. Once you got wicked out, you could have got back in this buy, to this level if you had a lot of wiggle room. Just to follow the momentum. For me, I'm going to wait to see how the next couple of candles open to see exactly what the market wants to do. So if it's breaking above this level, because it's kind of touching this 200 EMA, it's going to shoot up, because we do have buying momentum. Going to shoot up to this 800. What are we doing? I want to place my sell in here. This is our sell entry point, but I want to be patient. And I don't want to miss a move, but you don't want to be on the wrong side of the market either. Let's look at the 5 minute. Huge 5 minute candle taking out that price movement. It's a little scary.
Order filled.
Alrighty, so very risky trade. I'm going to really just have my risk at a bare minimum here, 120. Even though I kind of don't want to get stopped out, but that's just the name of the game if you're playing at the New York Open. Whether you just get stopped out, some people might want it, thinking it's going to come and touch up here to this level. Just remember, whatever your risk parameters are, definitely stay within your risk parameters. Having 3 contracts in the New York Open, very risky. And that's why it kind of gets your jitters out too. Just take your first, couple of trades in your demo account. You're not really risking anything. You're getting a feel of the market, So I do, if I am trading the New York Open, unless if I see something like a really nice break and continuation with huge movement, I'm in that demo. Alrighty, so my bracket orders kind of just set me up and go ahead and bring me down to my take profit areas. Let's see how this 5 minute candle opens up here. Just see what gold is doing. Let's see if we can. Are you guys able to see all of that? How's that looking? All right, Charlotte's waiting for a sell on US 30. What's US 30 telling us? Let's look at the 1 minute. So it kind of broke below that level, went back, touched this 800, 200 EMA there. We're just looking at the 1 minute because it's easier to see what price movement. I know we're bunched in here, but we are near that 50, 61, 8 level. That's what this blue box is in our fib. And what is price doing? Is it touching this S1, S0 level and buying? Or is it continuing to sell? What's our RSI telling us on the 1 minute? That we still have selling momentum, right? Still selling down here. And as we can see, this is why I like to keep these pairs up, because we see that US 30 gave that huge flush to the downside. It's trying to sell. It's touching this S1 kind of S0 level here. So just bouncing off of that. But as you guys can see, look at what ES is doing. It's doing the exact same thing. So even though we're on different time frames, kind of having them side by side when you're not really sure of market direction can really, really help. So have our order in. I have my trade. It's kind of playing around here. We see that the buyers are trying to push price higher. They have tried several times here, so we'll see how it reacts. We got this engulfing candle. We had a break of structure here. This was support. So price is coming back up here to this break. 6786 area or 800 EMA. That's also a very major zone here as well. Let's bring our fib and woo, that baby. Oh no. Let's see. Sometimes you got to bring it. Now if it in a market structure like this, you definitely need to have a wider stop than you typically would have. It's because you don't want to be in and out of trades. And if it hits the stop, nowhere near my max daily loss or my max for this trade. Every contract within this market environment, I want to have at least $150 stop loss, just a little bit room there. So I have 3 contracts open there. So I'm under, didn't risk as much as my trading plan says. So I'm still playing it safe. In this market, definitely having, and that's why I say demo, definitely having 3 contracts open. Get a little risky if you are not comfortable with pullback. So it's just a waiting game. We see how, the market's going to play out. We understand that, okay, if the market, breaks above these levels and makes higher highs, we're no longer looking for the market to sell down to this area and fill this imbalance candle. Nope, the market has, done as much selling as it's going to do. And instead, we're going back into our buy level. But you see how it broke this structure, shot straight down here to this imbalance candle. Again, if we put our fib from this low to this high. Let me take this fib out. I'll do fibs inside of fibs. I just, for that lower, just to see what price is doing on the lower time frames. And what did the market do? It came right back here to this fib level, 50.61.8. Then it come down to this zone. So we'll see if it's going to, buy, or if it's going to come and touch our ultimate support levels. But this is a buy zone. Remember TP1, TP2. Alrighty, how is everyone doing? Any questions? It is about to be 9:40. I have had you guys on here for almost 2 hours. I apologize, but I hope we got some good nuggets, some good tips on how to manage your trades. Remember, there's going to be losses in trading. That's just the name of the game. Just as long as you have good risk management, you should be able to, take up for those losses, get on the right side of the market, and be profitable as a futures trader. Any questions? Anything you guys would like me to look over? Any trade setups? Maybe a different asset that you'd like me to look at? But we did look at gold, and we did look at US 30 as well. So that was pretty cool. We got to get that in today. And we have those levels. You guys see what levels for you for gold as well if you're trading gold. Okay, well, I think you guys are set up today. I'm not going to hold you guys for too much longer. You guys drop your charts in the chat. You guys have been really, really silent lately. I know we're just transitioning over, but you guys don't have to drop ES charts. That's the thing that I want to go over, just because I think that it's a good beginner kind of, transition into the futures market. But if you're trading other pairs, you guys can still drop that information. We can still analyze it. You can get some help there with re-entering the market, maybe take profit points, whatever you need. We're all a big community. We help each other out. And so I'll see you guys today, 2 p.m., Top Step TV. I'll drop the link. Don't forget. And thank you guys for joining me. I will see you guys next Wednesday right here. Remember, even if the link doesn't work, always just come directly to the YouTube channel. When you click the YouTube channel link, it's going to show that there's a live, either I do schedule them. So you'll have the live link. Just come straight to the YouTube channel. That's also where you guys can look at previous lives, look at the recordings. They're all there in the channel. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And have an amazing trading day, you guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.